Good morning, evening, or night, wherever you are. Welcome to WHAM today. Take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let's drift through the whispers of today's world, one quiet thought at a time. As we wrap up Saturday, 21st June 2025, let's see what stories are unfolding around us. United States. The U.S. stock market saw mixed performance with modest losses in a recent week, though chip stocks rallied sharply. Wall Street's early 25. Bullish outlook on Chinese onshore stocks, anticipating Beijing's stimulus to counter US tariffs, has not materialized after 6 months. The U.S. commercial real estate sector faces escalating distress, with delinquencies exceeding $116 billion, a more-than-decade high, driven by higher borrowing costs, remote work, and maturing debt. The U.S. launched airstrikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites, an action Iran called savage. SoftBank Group founder Masayoshi Son is reportedly considering a $1 trillion investment to establish an AI manufacturing hub in the U.S.I. Russia has reportedly warned the U.S. against striking Iran, citing a potential nuclear catastrophe. B-2 bombers have departed the U.S. Wall Street is climbing higher as Trump comments jolt the Fed outlook. Iran. Following US airstrikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites, Iran described the attacks as savage. The country has remained silent regarding the strike's impact on its nuclear capabilities. Putin stated that Russia has informed Israel that there is no evidence suggesting Iran seeks nuclear weapons. Russia. Rosneft CEO Igor Sekin considers OPEC's decision to increase oil production amidst Middle East tensions as prudent, projecting oil prices at $42-45 per barrel through 2025 due to market volatility and conservative pricing. Sekin also noted China's shift towards becoming an energy exporter. Putin asserted that Russia's economy is not dependent on oil and gas, emphasizing the development of long-term economic partnerships with India and other key nations. According to the HER, Russia is reportedly recruiting Central Asian migrants to serve as cannon fodder in the Ukraine war. Russia has announced the handover of 3,000 additional Ukrainian bodies. Russian negotiator Dmitriev proposed a joint effort by Russia, the U.S., and Saudi Arabia to stabilize oil market. There were reports of Russian soldiers receiving $200,000 each for shooting down a U.S.-made F-16 fighter jet in Ukraine. Kim Jong-un has reportedly deployed 6,000 additional troops to Kursk following significant troop losses in Russia. Russia has reportedly cautioned the U.S. against striking Iran, warning of a potential nuclear catastrophe. Putin stated that Russia has informed Israel that there is no evidence suggesting Iran seeks nuclear weapons. China. The bullish expectations for Chinese onshore stocks at the beginning of 2025. Anticipating Beijing's stimulus measures to offset US tariffs have not been realized after 6 months. Rosneft CEO Igor Sekin indicated that China is evolving into an energy exporting nation. Saudi Arabia. In response to US airstrikes on Iran, Saudi Arabia reported no radioactive effects detected in the Gulf region. Russian negotiator Dmitriev suggested that Russia, the U.S., and Saudi Arabia could collaborate to stabilize oil markets. OPEC. Rosneft CEO Igor Sekin considers OPEC's decision to increase oil production amid Middle East tensions as a prudent measure. Ukraine. The HER reports that Russia is allegedly recruiting Central Asian migrants to serve as cannon fodder in the Ukraine war. Russia has announced that it will hand over 3,000 more Ukrainian bodies. Russian soldiers were reportedly awarded $200,000 each for downing a U.S.-made F-16 fighter jet in Ukraine. North Korea. Kim Jong-un has reportedly dispatched 6,000 additional troops to Kursk, Russia, following substantial troop losses. European Union. Heightened tensions in the Middle East are reportedly disrupting an EU plan to reduce the Russian oil price cap, which aimed to diminish war funding. Hong Kong. The Hong Kong dollar experienced a decline, but investors remain wary of its assets. Iran is at the center of escalating tensions following reported U.S. airstrikes on 3 nuclear sites, including fodder, causing global market volatility. The possibility of Iran involving the Strait of Hormuz in the conflict with Israel is a major concern. The United States, under President Donald Trump, claims a very successful attack that totally obliterated 3 Iranian nuclear sites. While some GOP leaders support the action, many politicians are questioning the president's constitutional authority to act without congressional approval. Israel faced the interception of Iranian missiles over Tel Aviv, further intensifying the regional conflict. The ongoing strife between Iran and Israel significantly contributes to market instability and the rise in crude oil prices. Globally, the conflict's escalation, with U.S. involvement, is triggering dips in Asian markets and a surge in crude oil prices. The potential for unpredictable spillovers in global markets is a widespread concern. China faces ongoing difficulties in its property sector, exacerbated by a declining population that Goldman Sachs forecasts will reduce housing demand by 0.5 million units each year during the 2020s. To address this, Chinese officials are introducing initiatives to support the housing market, including property supermarkets. Chengdu has partnered with state-owned and private developers to display over 50 projects on its home buying platform. A payment connect scheme between mainland China and Hong Kong is being initiated to ease capital movement. Tesla's $557 million battery agreement is projected to stimulate expansion in both the electric vehicle and energy storage industries within China. Hong Kong's financial, professional, and business service sectors are showing renewed strength, propelled by China's tech-driven economic advancements. A top Hong Kong official has affirmed that security measures are in place to guarantee the city's ongoing prosperity. Hong Kong-based investors, seeking alternatives to China's struggling property market, are increasingly investing in Japan's residential real estate, contributing to a substantial $11.20 billion investment in Q1. Mainland China and Hong Kong are launching a payment connect scheme to facilitate capital flows. Japan is witnessing a rise in real estate investment, specifically in the residential sector, spurred by international investors, including those from Hong Kong, seeking alternatives to China's declining property market. This influx of capital totaled $11.20 billion in the first quarter alone. Myanmar has seen MTSH and China's GCL sign a memorandum of understanding for renewable energy projects within the country. India's agrochemical exports are expected to rebound moderately in FY25 after a 22% drop in FY24, driven by global inventory adjustments and competition from China, with herbicides leading the growth and the US, Brazil, and Japan as primary markets. Indian firms venturing into new sectors must be cautious of diversification, which could erode value. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, has greenlit Tata Capital's confidential draft red herring prospectus, DHP, for its 13,200 crore IP, comprising a fresh share issuance and an offer for sale by Tata Sons, with a target valuation of $11. Tata Capital must list by September 25 per Reserve Bank of India, RB regulation. Foreign investors injected Yuan 12 and 9 crore into Indian equities from June 16-20th, although June recorded a net outflow of 4,192 crore. Block deals and FC Rebalancing underpinned these inflows, which analysts link to robust economic fundamentals. The Indian stock market saw volatility, opening higher on positive Asian cues, trading positively amid geopolitical uncertainties, and remaining flat following the U.S. Federal Reserve's policy announcement, ultimately closing the week strongly. Global trading firms are increasing their Indian presence, spurring talent acquisition and exchange advancements. Jefferies' Chris Wood has reconfigured his India portfolio across 6 sectors. The Indian Council of Medical Research National Institute of Immunohematology, ICMRNI, has introduced India's inaugural National Registry for Rare Blood Donor. India has affirmed that it will not reinstate the water-sharing agreement with Pakistan. Japan's approach to securing rare earth minerals is viewed as a model for Western nations seeking to reduce their reliance on China, although challenges persist in fully escaping China's dominance in this sector. In energy policy, Japan is returning to long-term liquefied natural gas, LNGs, driven by the artificial intelligence boom and the country's national energy plan. Japan plans a deeper cut in sales of super long bonds, but no immediate buybacks are anticipated. Diplomatic relations between Japan and South Korea continue, marking 60 years despite ongoing tensions and political uncertainties. However, there are reports of strains in its relationship with the United States, exemplified by Japan allegedly canceling 2E2 security talks with the U.S. due to a dispute over defense budget demands. In market dynamics, Chinese bond yields have fallen below those of Japan, indicating a shift in economic power. And Asiana Airlines, flight en route from Incheon to Tokyo, was forced to return to its origin due to an engine malfunction. The ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran has introduced volatility into global markets, leading to mixed stock market performance. Reduced geopolitical tensions and renewed foreign institutional investor activity contributed to gains in the Israeli stock market, despite its overall consolidation. An Israeli tech giant postponed a £300 sterling million city float because of the escalating conflict. The Indian stock market is sensitive to the war. Alongside IPOs and foreign institutional investor activity, the conflict influenced commodity markets, causing gold prices to decline as investors weighed as Federal Reserve rate cut expectations against Middle East geopolitical uncertainty. Further pressured by a strong US dollar and high bond yields, Wall Street's trading activity is not fully reflecting the gravity of the tense global situation. In the United States, former President Donald Trump commented on the Israel-Iran conflict, stating that there are many targets left in Iran should negotiations fail to end the conflict with Israel. Trump also congratulated Israel on a successful joint airstrike, sending mixed signals amidst the ongoing tensions. Internationally, the conflict between Israel and Iran has drawn significant attention, with Britain's finance minister hinting at potential support for Israel. Russian President Vladimir Putin could potentially benefit from the conflict. Europe is responding to geopolitical tensions by fortifying its defense capabilities. This includes increasing defense spending and consolidating its fragmented defense manufacturing sector. Simultaneously, Europe is pursuing digital sovereignty to counter the influence of U.S. tech firms. European stock markets have shown mixed performance amid these challenges. An initial dip occurred due to Middle East tensions and anticipation of the Federal Reserve's decision. A subsequent minor increase happened despite the Iran-Israel crisis, though oil prices remained elevated. The ISEC, Irish Stock Exchange, opened negatively, contrasting with a general rise in European stocks, and UBS has provided investment strategy recommendations. Market sentiment remains volatile, impacted by both geopolitical events and economic policy decisions. The United States, under the direction of President Donald Trump, has launched attacks against Iran. Specifically, 3 Iranian nuclear sites in Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan were targeted. Trump had previously stated his intention to be a peacemaker in the Middle East. South Korea is actively pursuing economic stimulus measures, including drafting a second extra budget. Household loans are increasing due to rising real estate prices and investment activity. Kim Yong-byong's stablecoin initiative aims to transform South Korea's digital economy. Regulatory scrutiny is intensifying, with planned investigations into crypto exchange fees. Bitcoin ETF approval is projected for 2025, signaling growing acceptance of cryptocurrency. 3 internet banks are expanding their operations internationally after achieving stable growth domestically. A court approved the sale plan for the struggling retailer HomePlus. The feasibility of implementing a 4.5-day workweek is under discussion. South Korea's chief trade negotiator will visit the U.S. from June 22-27. Tourism is flourishing, with Seoul and Busan leveraging K-pop to attract international visitors. Galeria has introduced the first Korean boutique for Bellendorf, a German high jewelry brand. The weather forecast predicts rain until Sunday morning, with highs of 30 degrees Celsius. United Kingdom. The UK is grappling with rising grocery bills. This increase has sparked fears of renewed inflation. A recent report highlighted that the UK suffered the second largest wealth decline among major economies in 2024. The government is responding by allocating £275 million to training programs. These programs will focus on cultivating a skilled domestic workforce. The FTSE 100 saw its first weekly fall in 6 weeks, partly driven by Middle East instability. In corporate news, PHP is pushing for a merger with Assura, despite warnings about potential financial risks. In trade developments, Turkey is organizing a kitchenware trade mission to London. This mission aims to increase exports to the UK market. Shifting to foreign policy, the UK has announced new sanctions targeting Russia. These sanctions are designed to undermine Russia's capacity to wage war. Saudi Arabia is actively pursuing economic diversification, with Formula One racing playing a key role. Gold demand in the country remains robust, defying price increases due to cultural norms and the digital transformation. New regulations are being implemented for credit cards. Meanwhile, Bangladesh has requested Saudi Arabia to keep its Hajj quota at the current level of 1,000 pilgrims per agency. In diplomatic news, the Saudi foreign minister engaged in discussions with Mauritania's foreign minister in Istanbul. France is seeing social media influencers rise in prominence, exemplified at events like Cannes Lions. Creators such as Coco Bassi are funding their own participation to directly engage with advertisers. This reflects a growing trend of major brands collaborating with social media personalities for marketing. Meanwhile, in business news, Xiaomi, the Chinese tech company, closed its French physical stores by 2022 after initially opening them in 2018. The company now maintains its presence through online sales and partnerships, a move impacting consumers like Parisian Alexandra Martins, who once frequented the physical locations. Canada is grappling with expensive air travel, fueled by limited budget airline options and hefty taxes, according to Air Canada. The Competition Bureau suggests increased foreign airline participation to spur competition and lower fares. Meanwhile, an XRP spot ETF is now available in Canada, but its launch hasn't yet impacted XRP's market price. Investors seeking stability can consult the Motley Fool Canada for advice on building a $50,000 portfolio designed to withstand market fluctuations. Across the Atlantic, the United Kingdom recently saw Prime Minister Rishi Sunak calling for a snap general election on July 4. This decision comes amid persistent economic challenges and lagging poll numbers for the Conservative Party. Sunak hopes to secure a fresh mandate to address these issues, though opposition parties are energized and ready to challenge his leadership. Shifting focus to Australia, the Reserve Bank of Australia, RBA, has maintained its cash rate at 4.35%. The RBA cites ongoing concerns about inflation, which remains above the target range, as the primary reason for holding steady. The board indicated it is not ruling out future rate hikes if inflation does not moderate as expected. Asian markets presented a mosaic of performance influenced by global trade and geopolitical undertones. China's Shanghai Composite closed marginally down, shadowed by ongoing trade anxieties. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index, however, surged by 1.26%, buoyed by tentative signs of de-escalation in geopolitical hotspots. Japan's Nikkei dipped by 0.22%, settling at 38,403, a retreat attributed to global trade winds and investors cashing in profit. Understood. Please provide the news articles. I am ready to begin processing them according to the guidelines. Argentina is currently investigating what it believes to be a Russian disinformation campaign operating within its borders. Meanwhile, in Australia, Johns Lyng Group has received a buyout proposal from Pacific Equity Partners, marking a potential shift in the company's ownership. Turning to Azerbaijan, the nation is actively trying to attract South Korean manufacturing companies to establish operations within the Alat Free Economic Zone, phase.dol. Congo has decided to prolong its ban on cobalt exports for another 3 months, a move designed to tighten the global cobalt supply. In Finland, cryptocurrency investment is becoming increasingly popular, with approximately 500,000 citizens now participating in the digital currency market. Nigeria's National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, is actively managing the relocation of Nigerian pilgrims in Saudi Arabia during the Hajj pilgrimage. Pakistan has successfully obtained $4.50 billion in loans from local banks. These funds are earmarked to alleviate the debt burden plaguing its power sector. The efficacy of Black economic empowerment, B, initiatives in South Africa, is now under scrutiny, with questions raised about whether these programs are effectively improving the economic conditions of the country's impoverished communities. Sweden's investor AB, often compared to Berkshire Hathaway, maintains significant holdings in major corporations like AB and AstraZeneca, demonstrating its influence in the global market. Switzerland has reduced its interest rates to 0% and plans to intervene in foreign exchange markets. This is an effort to manage inflation, and information is available detailing how mortgages work in the country. In a separate development, Switzerland has removed its economic sanctions against Syria. Looking ahead, a report forecasts the Thai stock market outlook on 20 June 2025, providing insight into potential future market trends. And that's a wrap for today's news, because even headlines need a nap. Stay curious, stay kind, and let the noise fade as you find your quiet. Take care, stay awesome, and I'll see you next time on WHAM today.